Minister Brown spoke this morning in the House about reorganization of the human resource function in the public service. Give us a comment on that.
Well, I was pleased to see that the new minister has devoted some attention to that, because I know it's been a subject that's been talked about for some time. Yeah, for your listening audience, your viewing audience, that many government departments have their own human resource function, and it's been under consideration for some time to bring them into one central location, which would be somewhere within the Cabinet Office. And so the minister gave a statement today, and I would say cautiously optimistic about that approach. It was something that in my time as a Premier I had some responsibility there, and I thought it was a path that we should investigate, but it did have some challenges in itself. One challenge is that the government is the largest employer in Bermuda, and some of the government departments have specific human resources mandates that are very important to them. For example, the Bermuda Police Service, Bermuda Corrections Department. And so if we're going to bring it all under one roof, we need to make sure that their specific mandates they require to be done, the expertise that they have to bring to the table to make it happen, is not lost in the process. Obviously, there can be some efficiencies in bringing it all under one roof. I think one of the challenges that government human resources has had over the years is that there's been duplication of responsibilities. This can resolve that. One of the questions that I still need to wrap my head around and get the answer to is when the minister said in his statement that they would try to ensure that it was done in a more efficient, effective manner with shorter timelines. I asked questions on how that would take place, and the minister was unable to give me an answer other than to say that we would get rid of some unnecessary steps. When I specifically questioned what those unnecessary steps were, the minister was unable to provide that information. So while I think it's good to get rid of duplication, we also need to make sure that as we move forward in this process, we always have the level of expertise we need to make it happen, and the process is more effective and more efficient. And I'll finish that comment off with this, Dennis, is that when you are seeking to fill a position, especially for somebody that might have some expertise like a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a forensic examiner in the police service. Those people have heavy qualifications, and they also will probably be searched for in other jurisdictions outside of Bermuda as well. If you have those qualifications, you're going to have opportunities somewhere. If an application is put in for somebody like that and it is not resolved and a decision made within an appropriate period of time, in a couple of weeks to me is an appropriate period of time, that person will put applications in many other places. And if an offer comes along, they'll accept it. And you could go back to them, and this is what I found in my time. You would go back to somebody and they'd already moved on to greener pastures. Not so much greener, but pastures who answered in a quicker way. And so if we're going to be more efficient, we need to make sure that the positions that are going to be filled are approved to actually have a responsibility that needs to be filled. The process is done in the right way, so we give opportunity to Bermudians to do these jobs, and then decisions are made in an effective fashion like they are in the private sector every day of the week.
UBA was instrumental in the formation of the Bermuda Tourism Authority. PLP government's made some announcements about some changes they want to make. Your thoughts on it?
I was disappointed with the act last week. I thought that the original act was passed in September of 2013, I believe. Didn't need to have any tweaking. And at that time when the act was passed, the PLP as politicians in the opposition side didn't criticize the setup of that act. They criticized the potential redundancy of people, and that proved false. They criticized who would be the CEO, and they didn't want a non-Bermudian take the place. But now we have very qualified Bermudian who's doing a good job in Kevin Dallas. But they didn't criticize how the authority was set up, and now they're making some changes to it. And look, I believe for the current government, it resolves around Dennis. Let's be frank. They believe that they're not getting the respect they deserve. They want more authority and more power. The new act, unfortunately, allows the minister to hire, fire, do whatever he pleases. that's been one of the challenges in tourism over the years, because politicians have come and politicians have gone, and the direction has changed, decisions have been made, new entities have been brought on board, and they may necessarily have worked out. With the act that we set up, any government had the ability to have a significant influence on tourism going forward, and because they set the budget, they could control it through the budget and what they did. And so I would hope that the current minister would appreciate the awesome responsibility and power he has, allow the professionals to do what they have to do, because if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. And tourism's going in the right direction. The OBA took flack in 2013 and 2014 because tourism was still struggling. We set up the BTA, and within about a year and a half, you started to see the results. And 16 was an improvement, 17 was a good year, 18 is going to be a better year than that. We still have a lot of upward growth to go, and I know we can do it if we allow the professionals to do it, and if government works with all those professional organizations, we can be successful. Because you can poo-poo the America's Cup all you want. It was an outstanding success, and what it did, and we will, if the PLP can't magnify any legacy, what it has done is put Bermuda on the world map, and we can continue to put it there by the views that have been seen all around the world, and by the tape we have of everything that happened. We can use it over and over and over and over again. So just in itself, the America's Cup and the publicity is positive. So we in the opposition will hold the minister and his colleagues accountable, because tourism is going in the right direction and we can't turn back. It means too much to Bermuda and opportunity for Bermudians.
The topic of guaranteed revenue for the airlines has come up. Your thoughts on where we have been and where we are today?
That's a very good question, Dennis. Minimum revenue guarantees, I believe, for any jurisdiction that is trying to develop new service is important. When we were the government, I believe, when we first started out, we might have had two. One finished, I believe, quite early in our tenure, and the second ended, I think, probably around October 2016. They had served their purpose. Both those routes were doing quite well. I was disappointed in the minister's statement last week, because I thought it was just a political statement to show government's disdain for the airport project and trying to undermine the good work that Skyport's done. But it's time to provide some leadership in that area. So instead of using the House to attack Skyport, and Dennis, I would say right now, I doubt that Skyport even knew the minister was going to make that statement. I think it was an attack on the airport itself. It was an attack on the people who are doing a good job down there. And I would hope the minister, after the statement was read, I would hope the minister had met with the general manager and resolved these differences. Because I feel strongly that if you don't like the airport, that's one thing. You couldn't find the wherewithal to end it or come up with a better option, and it's going to move forward. It's going to be successful. But show some leadership. Work with Skyport, work with BTA, work with the Bermuda Hotel Association and BDA. And if MRGs are needed, find the best way to do it. Government can provide the policy direction and control, and you will find ways to fund it. Let's not try to undermine progress that we're making just for political purposes. People suffer when you do that.
In the midst of the holiday season coming up,
we're getting there.
Plans for the time?
Well, I've matured a lot in my time. I'm just turned 60 this year, and I appreciate the holiday season so much more now because of the special memories I have with family and friends. And one of the things that's really important to me on Christmas Day is just sit back with my family and watch and enjoy, share conversations and laughter and a good meal. But it's also in my time in the community, and my brother and I have helped out the community for probably going on 25, 30 years now with hampers. I appreciate that even though we live in paradise, we still have a lot of people struggling. And so, I make a call today, Dennis, because of your lead, is to all of us in the community, try to make somebody's holiday season just a little bit more enjoyable by reaching out. And it could be some simple things, it could be some more difficult things. But there are many people who are not going to have a Christmas that they're looking forward to. Let's try to bring a smile to the face and help our brothers and sisters in our community, because there's enough to go around in Bermuda if we really care.